You are about to discover the most powerful seek that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. While others wait for opportunities to knock, you will learn to build the door itself. Before this hour ends, you will possess the exact blueprint that transforms impossibility into inevitability. The world tells you opportunities are scarce. The world lies. Every single day, millions of people walk past countless doors of possibility because they have been programmed to see only walls. You are not millions of people. You are one person with the power to create what others cannot even imagine. Listen carefully. What I am about to reveal will either transform your life completely or leave you exactly where you started. The choice is entirely yours. Most people live under the greatest deception ever perpetrated upon the human mind. They believe opportunities are external events that happen to them rather than internal forces they create from themselves. This is the thinking of the weak, the defeated, the permanently dependent. You must understand this truth immediately. Opportunity is not something you find. Opportunity is something you create. Every single breakthrough in human history began with someone who refused to accept that no door existed and proceeded to build one anyway. Consider this scenario. You approach a business for a job. They tell you they are not hiring. The weak person walks away defeated, believing the door is closed. The strong person asks a different question. How can I create value for this organization that they cannot refuse? How can I make myself so indispensable that they must find a way to bring me in? The weak person sees rejection. The strong person sees intelligence gathering. The weak person sees a closed door. The strong person sees an opportunity to demonstrate their worth through action rather than words. This is not positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. This is the difference between hoping something will happen and making it happen. Your first action step, identify 3 situations in your life where you have accepted that no opportunity exists. Write them down. Now ask yourself, what would have to be true for an opportunity to exist in each situation? What would I need to create, build, or demonstrate to force that opportunity into existence? Every impossibility is simply a puzzle waiting for the right combination of elements. The person who creates opportunities where none exist is not lucky. They are methodical. They understand that every closed system has entry points invisible to the untrained eye. When Thomas Edison wanted to create the electric light bulb, there was no market for electric light bulbs. There was no infrastructure for electricity. There was no consumer demand because consumers had no concept of what they were missing. Edison did not wait for these conditions to exist. He created them. You must think like Edison. You must understand that the absence of obvious opportunity is not the absence of potential opportunity. It is simply the absence of developed opportunity. Here is your strategic framework. Every closed system has 3 entry points. First, the unmet need that the system does not recognize. Second, the inefficiency that the system accepts as normal. Third, the connection between 2 systems that appears unrelated but creates exponential value when combined. Picture yourself as a master locksmith standing before a door with no visible keyhole. The amateur gives up. The professional understands that every lock has a mechanism, and every mechanism has a weakness. Your job is not to find the obvious keyhole. Your job is to understand the internal structure well enough to create your own entry point. In your professional life, this means studying your industry until you understand not just what is being done, but what is not being done. What problems are being ignored? What connections are being overlooked? What value is being left on the table because no one has figured out how to capture it? Your second action step, choose one industry, organization, or system that appears close to you. Spend the next week studying it with the intensity of a detective. What inefficiencies exist? What unmet needs are being ignored? What connections to other systems could create unprecedented value? Creating opportunities where none exist requires a fundamental shift in your psychological relationship with limitation. Most people accept limitation as absolute. You must learn to see limitation as temporary and circumstantial. This is not about denial. This is about understanding the difference between permanent barriers and temporary obstacles. Permanent barriers are laws of physics. Temporary obstacles are current conditions that can be changed through applied intelligence and persistent action. When you encounter a situation where someone tells you something is impossible, your immediate internal response must be, impossible under what conditions? What would need to change for this to become possible? What would I need to create, build, or demonstrate to change these conditions? The weak mind asks, why is this impossible? The strong mind asks, what would make this possible? The weak mind accepts current conditions as permanent. The strong mind treats current conditions as starting points for transformation. Consider this example. You want to start a business, but you have no money, no connections, and no experience. The weak mind sees three insurmountable barriers. The strong mind sees three problems to solve systematically. How do you acquire money? You create value first and monetize second. How do you build connections? You make yourself valuable to people who already have what you need. How do you gain experience? You start doing the work, even if you have to do it for free initially. Notice the difference in thinking. The weak mind focuses on what is absent. The strong mind focuses on what can be created. The weak mind is paralyzed by current conditions. The strong mind is energized by future possibilities. Your third action step, identify your biggest limitation in achieving your most important goal. Now rewrite that limitation as a problem to be solved rather than a barrier to be accepted. What would you need to create, build, or develop to eliminate this limitation completely? Opportunities are not created in a vacuum. They are created through the strategic application of value in situations where others see no potential for value creation. This requires you to develop an entirely different perspective on what constitutes value. Most people think value is obvious. They think value is what everyone already recognizes as valuable. This is backwards thinking. The greatest opportunities exist in areas where value is not yet recognized, not yet developed, or not yet connected to the people who need it most. You must train yourself to see value where others see nothing. You must develop the ability to recognize unmet needs before they become obvious to everyone else. You must learn to connect solutions to problems that have not yet been properly defined. This is not about creating artificial value. This is about recognizing and developing genuine value that exists in potential form. Every breakthrough product, every revolutionary service, every transformative innovation began with someone who saw value where others saw nothing. Think about this scenario. You are in a meeting where everyone is frustrated about a recurring problem. Most people complain about the problem. You ask a different question. What would a solution to this problem be worth? Who would pay for such a solution? What would that solution need to look like to be irresistible to those people? While others focus on the problem, you focus on the value of the solution. While others see frustration, you see opportunity. While others wish someone would fix this, you realize that someone could be you. The key is understanding that value creation is not about having the perfect solution immediately. Value creation is about positioning yourself as the person who is working on the solution while others are still complaining about the problem. Your fourth action step, identify 3 problems that you hear people complaining about regularly. For each problem, calculate what a solution would be worth to the people experiencing it. Now ask yourself, what would I need to learn, build, or develop to create that solution? Creating opportunities where none exist requires you to position yourself not where opportunities currently exist, but where opportunities are about to emerge. This requires the ability to see patterns, predict trends, and place yourself in the path of future development. Most people position themselves based on current conditions. They go where the action is happening now. This is reactive positioning. By the time you arrive where everyone else is competing, the opportunity has already been divided among those who got there first. You must learn to position yourself proactively. You must identify where value is moving, not where value currently sits. You must place yourself in the intersection of trends that are converging to create unprecedented opportunities. This requires you to think like a river that finds its way to the ocean by following the path of least resistance while maintaining constant forward momentum. You do not fight current conditions. You use current conditions to propel yourself toward future possibilities. Consider this example. Everyone knows that artificial intelligence is transforming business. Most people try to position themselves in artificial intelligence directly, competing with thousands of others for the same obvious opportunities. The strategic thinker asks, what industries are being disrupted by A, but do not yet realize it? What skills will be desperately needed as AI advances, but are not yet in high demand? What connections between A and other fields have not yet been explored? This is positioning strategy. While others fight for existing opportunities, you create new categories of opportunity by connecting emerging trends with unmet needs. Your fifth action step: identify 3 trends that are emerging in your field or industry. For each trend, ask yourself, what opportunities will this trend create that do not exist today? How can I position myself to be ready for these opportunities before they become obvious to everyone else? Creating opportunities where none exist is not a single action. It is a systematic approach to continuous experimentation. You must develop the discipline to test ideas, measure results, and iterate rapidly until you discover what works. Most people experiment once, fail, and conclude that no opportunity exists. This is the thinking of the weak. The strong person understands that the first experiment is simply the first data point in a series of experiments designed to find the combination that works. You must treat every interaction, every conversation, every project as an experiment in opportunity creation. You must collect data about what works and what does not work. You must refine your approach based on evidence rather than assumptions. This is not about trying random things and hoping for the best. This is about systematic testing of hypotheses about where value can be created. Every experiment teaches you something about the system you are trying to influence. Every failure eliminates one approach and points you toward more promising alternatives. Think about this process like a scientist developing a new medicine. The scientist does not expect the first formula to work perfectly. The scientist expects to run hundreds of experiments, each one providing data that informs the next experiment. The scientist knows that breakthrough comes not from one perfect experiment, but from the systematic accumulation of knowledge through repeated testing. Your approach to opportunity creation must be equally systematic. You must develop hypotheses about where opportunities might exist. You must design experiments to test these hypotheses. You must collect data about what works and what does not work. You must use this data to refine your approach continuously. Your sixth action step: design 3 small experiments to test different approaches to creating opportunity in your chosen area. Make sure each experiment can be completed within 1 week and provides clear feedback about what works and what does not work. Creating opportunities where none exist requires a specific type of patience that most people do not possess. This is not passive waiting. This is active preparation combined with precise timing. You must learn to distinguish between the right action at the wrong time and the right action at the right time. Most people are either too impatient or too patient. They either give up too quickly when results do not appear immediately, or they wait too long to act when the window of opportunity is open. Both approaches guarantee failure. You must develop the ability to maintain consistent action over extended periods while remaining alert to moments when accelerated action is required. You must learn to build momentum gradually while being prepared to capitalize on sudden opportunities. This is like a farmer who prepares the soil, plants the seeds, and tends the crops throughout the growing season, but also recognizes exactly when the harvest is ready and acts decisively to bring it in before the window closes. In opportunity creation, this means consistently building value, developing relationships, and positioning yourself strategically while remaining alert to moments when all your preparation can be converted into concrete results. Consider this scenario. You have been building expertise in a particular area for months. You have been creating value for people in your network. You have been positioning yourself as someone who solves specific problems. Then suddenly, a major event occurs that creates urgent demand for exactly what you have been developing. Your preparation allows you to respond immediately while others scramble to catch up. This is strategic patience. You prepare before the opportunity is obvious. You act decisively when the opportunity emerges. You do not wait for perfect conditions, but you also do not waste energy on premature action. Your seventh action step, identify one area where you have been preparing for opportunity but have not yet seen results. Recommit to consistent preparation for another 30 days while defining exactly what signals will indicate that the time for decisive action has arrived. Creating opportunities where none exist requires you to take complete responsibility for your results, regardless of external conditions. This is not about blame or guilt. This is about power. When you take complete responsibility for your results, you reclaim complete power over your results. Most people give away their power by making their results dependent on external factors. They say things like, if only I had more money, if only I had better connections, if only the economy were different, if only other people would recognize my value. This is the language of powerlessness. You must develop the language of power. You must learn to ask, what can I create, build, or develop that makes external conditions irrelevant? How can I generate the resources I need? How can I build the connections I need? How can I demonstrate value so clearly that external recognition becomes inevitable? This is not about working harder. This is about working more strategically. This is about understanding that every external limitation is simply information about what you need to develop internally. When Henry Ford decided to build automobiles, he did not have the money, the technology, or the market. He could have waited for someone else to create these conditions. Instead, he took complete responsibility for creating them himself. He developed the technology, assembled the resources, and built the market. He refused to make his success dependent on external factors. This is the mindset you must develop. You must see every external obstacle as information about what you need to create internally. You must treat every limitation as a problem to be solved rather than a barrier to be accepted. Your eighth action step, identify 3 external factors that you have been using to explain why opportunities do not exist in your situation. For each factor, ask yourself, what would I need to create, build, or develop to make this factor irrelevant? Creating opportunities where none exist is not about creating single, isolated opportunities. It is about creating systems of opportunity that generate multiple possibilities from each investment of time and energy. You must learn to think in terms of compound returns rather than single transactions. Most people think linearly. They invest effort in one direction and expect one result. This is inefficient thinking. The strategic thinker invests effort in ways that create multiple potential returns from the same investment. Every action you take should be designed to create multiple opportunities, not just one. Every relationship you build should open multiple doors, not just one. Every skill you develop should be applicable to multiple situations, not just one. This is like planting a tree rather than picking a fruit. Picking a fruit gives you one meal. Planting a tree gives you fruit for decades and seeds to plant more trees. The strategic thinker always plants trees. Consider this example. Instead of applying for one job, you identify 10 companies that could benefit from your skills. Instead of sending 10 separate applications, you create a presentation that demonstrates how your skills could add value to their specific industry. You present this to all 10 companies, not asking for a job, but offering to solve a problem they all face. This single investment of time creates multiple possibilities. Some companies might offer you a job. Others might offer you consulting work. Others might refer you to companies that need your skills. Others might partner with you on projects. One strategic action creates the multiple potential outcomes. Your ninth action step, identify your next major action toward opportunity creation. Redesign this action so that it creates at least 3 different potential positive outcomes rather than just one. Creating opportunities where none exist requires you to master the art of communicating value in ways that make opportunity creation inevitable. Most people communicate what they want. You must learn to communicate what others need. This is not about manipulation. This is about alignment. When you understand what others need and you have the ability to provide it, communication becomes a process of creating mutual benefit rather than convincing someone to do something they do not want to do. Most people communicate from their own perspective. They talk about their qualifications, their experience, their needs, their goals. This is backwards communication. The strategic communicator talks about the other person's challenges, opportunities, and potential outcomes. You must develop the ability to translate your value into language that others understand in terms of their own priorities. You must learn to present your capabilities as solutions to problems they are already trying to solve. This requires you to become a master of research and preparation. Before every important conversation, you must understand the other person's business, their challenges, and their goals well enough to frame your value in terms they care about. Consider this approach. Instead of saying, I am looking for an opportunity to use my skills, you say, I have been studying your industry, and I believe I can help you solve the problem of customer retention that most companies in your sector are struggling with. Instead of talking about what you want, you talk about what you can provide. This is strategic communication. You lead with value rather than need. You focus on their problems rather than your solutions. You make the conversation about mutual benefit rather than one-sided requests. Your 10th action step: prepare for your next important conversation by researching the other person's business, challenges, and goals. Practice framing your value in terms of specific benefits you can provide to them, rather than general qualifications you possess. Creating opportunities where none exist is fundamentally about building relationships with people who can benefit from what you create and who can help you create it. This is not networking. This is systematic relationship building based on mutual value creation. Most people approach relationships from a position of need. They network when they need something. They reach out when they want something. This is backwards relationship building. The strategic relationship builder creates value first and requests value second. You must learn to identify people who are working on problems you can help solve, and you must find ways to help them solve those problems before you ask for anything in return. You must become valuable to others before you ask others to be valuable to you. This is not about being taken advantage of. This is about understanding that relationships are built on foundation of mutual benefit. And someone has to create the first layer of that foundation. The strategic person volunteers to create the first layer. Every person you meet should be evaluated not just for what they can do for you, but for what you can do for them. Every conversation should be an opportunity to understand their challenges and identify ways you can add value to their efforts. This approach creates a network of people who know your capabilities, trust your judgment, and think of you first when opportunities arise in your areas of expertise. This network becomes a systematic source of opportunities that do not exist for people who only reach out when they need something. Think about this systematically. If you help 10 people solve problems that are important to them, you create 10 advocates for your capabilities. When opportunities arise that match your skills, these 10 people recommend you. When they encounter problems you can solve, they think of you first. When they meet other people who need what you provide, they make introductions. Your 11th action step: identify 5 people who are working on problems you can help solve. For each person, identify one specific way you can add value to their efforts without asking for anything in return. Take action on at least one of these opportunities within the next week. Creating opportunities where none exist requires you to continuously expand your ability to create value. This is not about collecting credentials or accumulating information. This is about developing capabilities that allow you to solve problems other people cannot solve. Most people learn in order to get something. They get degrees to get jobs. They attend training to get promotions. They acquire skills to get opportunities. This is reactive learning. The strategic learner develops capabilities to create opportunities. You must learn to identify skills that are becoming increasingly valuable but are not yet widely available. You must develop expertise in areas that are emerging but not yet crowded. You must build capabilities that position you at the intersection of trends that are converging to create new possibilities. This requires you to think like an investor who identifies undervalued assets before they become obvious to everyone else. You must identify knowledge and skills that are currently undervalued, but will become increasingly valuable as conditions change. Consider this approach. Instead of developing skills that everyone already has, you identify skills that few people have, but many people need. Instead of competing in crowded fields, you position yourself in emerging fields where there is more opportunity and less competition. This is not about predicting the future perfectly. This is about positioning yourself to benefit from multiple possible futures. You develop capabilities that will be valuable regardless of which specific trends emerge as dominant. Your 12th action step: identify 3 skills that are becoming increasingly valuable in your field but are not yet widely available. Choose one of these skills and create a learning plan to develop significant capability in this area within the next 90 days. Creating opportunities where none exist requires you to take risks that others are not willing to take. This is not about reckless gambling. This is about calculated risk taking based on superior information and preparation. Most people either take no risks or take stupid risks. They either play it completely safe and guarantee mediocre results, or they take random risks and hope for the best. Both approaches guarantee failure. You must learn to take intelligent risks. You must develop the ability to evaluate potential outcomes, calculate probabilities, and make decisions based on risk-adjusted expected returns. You must learn to risk resources you can afford to lose in pursuit of gains that significantly exceed the potential losses. This requires you to understand the difference between risk and uncertainty. Risk is when you can calculate the probabilities of different outcomes. Uncertainty is when you cannot calculate the probabilities. You must learn to convert uncertainty into risk through research, preparation, and small-scale testing. Every significant opportunity involves some degree of risk. The people who create opportunities where none exist are not more willing to lose. They are better at calculating what they might win and what they might lose, and they only take action when the potential gains significantly exceed the potential losses. Consider this framework. Before taking any significant risk, you must answer 3 questions. What is the worst possible outcome, and can I survive it? What is the best possible outcome, and is it worth the risk? What information do I need to improve my odds of success? This is strategic risk-taking. You only risk what you can afford to lose. You only pursue gains that are significantly larger than potential losses. You improve your odds through preparation rather than hoping for luck. Your 13th action step: identify one calculated risk you have been avoiding because you have been focusing on potential losses rather than potential gains. Evaluate this risk using the 3-question framework and decide whether to take action based on evidence rather than fear. Creating opportunities where none exist requires you to understand that timing is not just about when you act, but about how you prepare for the right time to act. Most people focus on timing their actions. You must focus on timing your preparation. The greatest opportunities often emerge suddenly and disappear quickly. The people who capitalize on these opportunities are not necessarily the ones who recognize them first. They are the ones who have prepared for them most thoroughly. You must learn to prepare for opportunities before they become obvious. You must develop capabilities, build relationships, and position yourself strategically while others are focused on current conditions. When opportunities emerge, you must be ready to act immediately while others are still trying to figure out what is happening. This is like a surfer who studies wave patterns, positions themselves in the right location, and prepares their equipment before the perfect wave arrives. When the wave comes, they are ready to catch it while others are still paddling toward the right position. In opportunity creation, this means identifying where opportunities are likely to emerge and preparing to capitalize on them before they become obvious to everyone else. It means building the capabilities, relationships, and resources you will need to act decisively when the time comes. Consider this approach. Instead of reacting to opportunities after they appear, you identify the conditions that typically precede the emergence of opportunities in your area. You monitor these conditions and prepare to act when they align favorably. Your 14th action step: identify 3 conditions that typically precede the emergence of opportunities in your field. Create a monitoring system to track these conditions and define exactly what preparation you will complete before these conditions align. Creating opportunities where none exist ultimately comes down to one thing: your willingness to persist in execution when others give up. This is not about stubborn persistence in the wrong direction. This is about intelligent persistence in the right direction long enough for compound effects to create breakthrough results. Most people give up too soon. They try something for a few weeks or months, do not see immediate results, and conclude that it does not work. They do not understand that most worthwhile results require sustained effort over extended periods before they become visible. You must develop the ability to maintain consistent action over long periods while others are distracted by immediate gratification or discouraged by temporary setbacks. You must learn to measure progress by the actions you take rather than the results you see immediately. This is not about working harder. This is about working consistently. This is about understanding that small actions repeated over time create larger results than large actions taken sporadically. Think about this mathematically. If you improve your capabilities by 1% each day, you will be 37 times more capable at the end of 1 year. If you build one valuable relationship each week, you will have 52 valuable relationships at the end of 1 year. If you create one small piece of value each day, you will have 365 pieces of value at the end of 1 year. This is the mathematics of opportunity creation. Small, consistent actions compound over time to create results that appear impossible to people who think in terms of single, large actions. Your 15th action step: identify one small action you can take every day for for the next 30 days that will contribute to opportunity creation in your chosen area. Commit to taking this action regardless of immediate results and track your consistency rather than your outcomes. The moment has arrived for you to choose. Everything you have heard in the past hour means nothing unless you act on it. Everything you have learned is worthless unless you apply it. Everything you have discovered is powerless unless you execute it. You now possess the blueprint for creating opportunities where none exists. You understand the principles, strategies, and tactics that separate those who wait for opportunities from those who create them. You have the knowledge that can transform your life completely. But knowledge without action is just entertainment. Understanding without implementation is just theory. Possibility without execution is just dreaming. The world is waiting for what you will create. There are problems that need your solutions. There are people who need your value. There are opportunities that exist only in potential form, waiting for someone with the courage and intelligence to bring them into reality. That someone is you. You will not wait for permission. You will not wait for perfect conditions. You will not wait for someone else to create the opportunities you need. You will create them yourself, systematically, strategically, and persistently. You will start today. You will start with the action steps you have identified. You will start with the experiments you have designed. You will start with the relationships you will build and the value you will create. The time for waiting is over. The time for creating has begun. Go create the opportunities the world needs. Go build the doors that do not yet exist. Go become the person who turns impossibility into inevitability. The world is waiting for what only you can create. Do not keep it waiting any longer.